Dear Venerable Dhamma friends, again we are going to start another session of question and answers. We'll start with the written questions and inviting if there are any other questions or statements you may present once the written questions are over. So I would like to invite our Sudhamdro to read questions.
Most Venerable Swami Vahanse, as advised by you, I was watching the elements at work. The tingling sensations developed into tiny particles vibrating against each other. Salivating process was very prominent. Hands and feet, rhythmic pulse beats turned into tiny circular movements. At the 3 to 4 p.m. sitting yesterday, at the end of the session, someone spoke loud to be heard over the sound of the rain, and I opened my eyes. For about a minute since opening the eyes, the sound of the rain in the ears occurred in rhythmic waves. I noted that the sound of the rain matched my heartbeat sound rising and ebbing. This effect didn't last for long, though. After about 2 minutes, things became normal. At yesterday's sittings, I noted that the episodes of nothingness were less than before, although the body element's watch was going well. But today's sitting were balanced with many occurrences of nothingness, with the elements also showing up well. Is there something I should do or not do at this stage, maybe for the elements to become more prominent? Thank you for your guidance, Swami Vahanse. May you attain Nibbana in this very life.
Early part of the statement it says that you approach and try to observe the elementary particles, and they are the tingling sensation and heartbeats, and again later telling the some sensation in the hands and other parts of the body. So try to keep body parts as away as possible and try to see the nature, the tingling nature, stress, the movements and jerkings, any kind of thing. So try to withdraw the body part connection and just see its stiffness, tension and movements and the vibrations, and then you can understand it is the element by itself. They can't express outside, so they are expressing within you. So, but if you try to understand it related to the body parts, likings and disliking can still creep in. So take care about, just see elements, and then you are opening a wide field, and elements are, we can say, right in between individual characteristics and the common characteristics. So whenever you try to start with the individual characteristics, before it change into the common characters, universal characters, they represent as elementary features, and they are, we must try do away, only it's a very little advice, do away with the attribution to the individual particles and let the elements to run. And you may see elements are always speaking to you. It is waiting to speak to you, and unless otherwise you give a fair chance, and it is in the center with the conventional truth to the absolute truth. So you must understand, you must try to understand the language of the elements away from the bodily parts, and then you can understand the bridging between the conventional truth and the absolute. So that particular writer is somewhere in between. So facilitate it as much as possible, and only simple advice is don't attribute, even though it is appearing like that, don't attribute it to bodily parts.
Dear Bhante, when one is in mindfulness moment to moment for consecutive 15 minutes without interruption in the present moment, will it help to realize anatta and develop anicca, do away with micca sanya? More merit to you, Bhante.
So it depends, because when and where you mindful, you are not under the influence of the time and space. You can't measure mindfulness with these yardsticks. So therefore, when and where you try to be mindful, at the beginning it appears like within the frame of the time and space, when and where the mindfulness going to take the momentum and become steadfast, the time and space become insignificant, and you will learn the art how to get the momentary mindfulness and steadfast mindfulness and go beyond the space and time. So under such circumstances, you may see some other new dimensions, or this is the way it is gathering the momentum.
Dear Bhante, when doing sitting meditation, the breath disappears in no time and can be in a calm, happy state for more than 1 hour. This is experienced for more than 2 years. Still, the calm state and mindfulness. I do meditation daily, regularly. From the questions asked by the yogis during this retreat, it appears that most of them, the majority, seem to be in this void state with the disappearance of the breath, primary object. All have achieved this state by following your simple, accurate guidance and advice. Please let us know how to proceed further to develop meditation in order to advance. Does this state lead to path entry? As time is limited, please direct us. Thero.
So this is kind of an alternative to the materialistic world. So without leaving the materialistic world, you are developing another perspective, and from that you can look at the materialistic world. From the materialistic world point of view, you can see the space. So now your mind is somewhat balanced, and this balanced mind knows what to do the next. But your rational mind never knows, because it knows only the materialistic side only. So therefore, as far as you familiarize this state where the breath ceases to exist and still the mindfulness is there, the seasoning effect, the mastering of the same, it is very slow, but you have to regularly keep on practice. But you can understand what is happening there. Even though you go into this nothingness maybe 1 year or 2 years, never mind, there's a kind of a precipitation and clarity takes place. And when and where you go to nothingness, and once it's familiarized, you can understand what is the more preferable state in your mind when you see objects or when you do not see objects. So there, our mind is sometimes have preferences, with object or without object. Without object, some people consider as boring, monotonous, no events, not dramatic. So therefore they develop dislike. Instead they like the object. Some other people say objects means defilements, object disappears, and there is no object, more solitude, more happiness. And so you have to understand which is the state of mind you are in. And neither is good. You have to understand having object or not having object happening completely in the cause and effect relationship. Without your involvement, let it happen. Don't be choosy. Don't understand this is good or this is bad. If such a thing happen, recognize that is the function of the consciousness. Consciousness is try to divide it and try to give a preference to one side. This is the point where tension start to set in, or frustration sets in. So the moment you understand nothingness and the having something, both of them are just the two sides of the same coin, and it is something happening rather than mine. So your mindfulness become mature and understand how to not carried away by the vicissitudes of the world, have or have not, pain or pleasure, gain or lost, popularity or unpopularity. So you don't feel it, whether you are advancing or not, But if you can maintain that state longer, definitely it is an advancement. That must be your attitude. Whenever you get the opportunity to go to the cessation of object and be there, let the mind to familiarize it, season it as long as possible, and then there's a kind of a maturity takes place, and that specifically in Chula Sunyata Sutta and the Ananja Sappaya Sutta in Sinhala, I have gone very detailed into that. I am not going to take time for that. But simply I can say, more you familiarize it, more mind is advancing. So don't worry about the tangibility of your advancement, but please continue with the same timetable, or more and more engage with this timetable.
Dear Bhante, here is my progress report. For the first 3 days of the retreat, I was at ease, observing the in-out breath and drifting in and out of the void. However, from the 4th day, the general pattern changed. A great tension arose in my back and shoulders, and this captured my attention. I discovered that the more I watched it, the more I clung to it, so frustration arose alongside it. The whole of the past week has been the story of the return journey to my breath as primary object. The tension goes away one day, I note relief, then it comes back again the next day. I have made some interesting discoveries over the course of this week as I investigated the tension. I saw how it was directly related to irritation and anger that arises in me when other people act in a way that I don't like. I have also become more skillful at letting go of that irritation and consequently the tension. Yesterday afternoon, during the thunderstorm, the return journey was dramatic. My upper body was physically pulled in different directions as the pain and anger were released. Thank you, Bhante, for your wise instructions this week. I wish you all the best for your forthcoming trip overseas, with metta and respect.
Too many people are not happy my going abroad. Even you are wishing, thank you. But the point there is, whenever you find that repeatedly appearing tension, repeatedly appearing anger, is a clear indication you are directly face to face with the defilement, and it is on the way disappearing. You really feel the battlefield. You feel again and again it is happening, and you are also not giving up. You also give again and again applying the return journey. One day you can see it's gone forever. It is not avoiding, it is not escapism, just by facing. So the Buddha has taken enough pain to explain, when and where you sit calm and serene, nothing happens, it's just wastage of time. When and where you are fully aware that defilement is coming again and again, but still you are applying your mindfulness, that is the only time you are dealing with defilements. And then you can see the defilements are slowly disappearing. You are win-win situation. And hilarious, you feel the mindfulness. So therefore Vipassana yogis or Vipassana meditation is always welcome this kind of turbulence, troubles. But you never give up. Let it happen again, you apply. And you feel like finished. No, next day again it happens. Again you desperately apply your mindfulness and ultimately it's disappearing. So this is the way, by dealing and do away with defilement, you can make this whole sacred. More and more you shed defilements here, the meditation will become more and more sacred. So you are welcome to make it more sacred, more and more.
Walking meditation. This morning around 4 o'clock, I started to do walking meditation, but I was feeling unsteady on my feet. So I quickly went to the meditation hall and started sitting meditation. In sitting meditation, I was watching the in-breath and the out-breath, and within a few seconds, it came to nothingness, absolutely nothing everywhere. I was in this state for about 20 minutes. What I want to know is it absolutely essential to do walking meditation before sitting meditation with metta?
Yes. Just like in Sri Lankan way, before eating, you have to wash your hands. Likewise, always, the Sayadaw Pandita says, whenever the vehicle is in the garage for a few days, before starting the journey, start the engine and run it little bit, engine to get warm up and mobilized, because it has to recharge its own dynamo or the battery through the dynamo, and then only the engine is ready for the journey. So likewise, when and where you sit, before the next sit, you have to have little bit of walking meditation. And after the sleep overnight, little bit of walking meditation. If you have a serious sickness and if you are recovering, have a walking meditation. After a meal, have a walking meditation. Then mind is or body is mobilized, so therefore always try to give the due dose of the walking meditation, and you never feel it's in the short run. But the long run in your meditative life, that is the secret. So therefore don't do away, look down towards walking meditation. When and where possible, give 50-50.
Venerable Swamin Vahanse, is dreaming a result of citta sanskara? When the mind becomes more mindful, will there be no dreams? Please explain.
So even not sleeping, even in meditation, when and where your primary object is disappearing, for the first time maybe, lot of states where almost you are in dream or half dream, that is the floating in between concept and reality. You don't know it is something mind-made, or you don't know something it is reality. Sometimes you hear sounds or see shapes and different colors, or sometimes moving of the body, sensations. Some people talk about salivation and the tastes. Really, some people complain about the smells and mind objects. So there you don't know whether it is the reality or concept. And exactly the same thing in half sleep. This dreaming happens. So at that moment when you are in a dreaming state, all the pent-up problems or suppressed or repressed problems or repressed things come to surface. Catharsis starts. So therefore, if you can let that kind of a thing go, or froth, or catharsis, mind become healed. That is what you do in the psychotherapy, or in hypnotism, or in free association. Let that thing to come out. So what is coming out is your suppressed things, or your repressed thing, or pent-up energies, or psychological wounds. They come out. Without paying anything for a psychotherapist or counselor, you can be your counselor. You are the patient. Mindfulness is the technique. They are about to come. And while you are in sitting, you can experience the dream. And at a time, you develop kind of a state where you feel everything is mano pubbangama, mano settha, manomaya. Mind is the forerunner, mind is the most important thing, and everything is mind-made. So that kind of conclusion also sometimes you are arriving at when you are going to the deeper sense of the materiality or disappearance of the materiality. Everything appear like mind-made. So that is why some people yet to ready to understand meditation as something mystics. It is not mystic. It's a floating between the concept and reality. So if you have kind of fear, or if you have any kind of a phobia, mind will never progress beyond that. In order to go beyond that, you have to sacrifice your body and the life. Then only you can take that advantage, take that adventurous situation. So many people are not ready. Many are, they love their body as well as the life, so therefore they are not ready to take this risk. They are not risk lovers, so their meditation will be stopped due to the fear and uncertainty. So therefore let the dream happen, daydreaming and night dreaming. Meditation you get the daydreaming, and in the night you see the night dreaming. Both of them are nothing but the same.
Venerable Bhante, when attention is on the posture, the gross feelings of the elements are felt less now. Instead, a flowing stream of energy is felt throughout the body. Sometimes I experience the whole body breaking up. I feel disconnected and as if an I does not exist. The mind then feels very still and alert and comes to a point where it enters or squeezes into another area. It stays there for a short while and then emerges out again. This emerging in and out happens several times. Please explain what it is. Much metta.
This is sometimes very interesting. Some people come out with different models. One thing is, if you look at a beehive, when all the bees are at the hive, you can see the beehive in a shape, and you can consider it as one unit. So usually it happens when the about to rain. So once the sun came, the bees are spread, going out. So what happened to the beehive? Disappears. Whenever again the rain happens, the bees are coming and come into the same agglomeration, then you see the hive. Otherwise they are gone. So that is what it happens. If you see the body as body, body means an agglomeration, or it is not a unity, it is not one entity, it is a coming together of many, many things. So whenever it sees, one halfway state is called going to pieces without falling apart. Thing is there, lot of cracks, but not fallen apart. Suppose that such a thing drop, these are the cracks that is going to break it off. But now you can see going to pieces, but not fallen apart. So that is the state. First, in the halfway, you understand my body is not a unit. It is not an entity. It is a kind of agglomeration. And writing about this, it says in the Chinese and Japanese culture, when you are using chinaware or ceramics, more and more you use it, you can see a lot of cracks and not fallen apart. And that is very expensive. More and more cracks are there, that means it is very historical. So in Japanese, when the thing is very historical or archaeological, a lot of cracks are there, but not fallen apart. They are very expensive. Likewise, when your knowledge is increasing, you understand there is no unit on the earth. Everything is but agglomeration. Even it represents as one entity, one unit. Your wisdom never happy. It always try to analyze and see. It is broken. It is it has gone into pieces, even though it has not fallen apart. And the same thing, Venerable Achancha, one day, when he is giving a sermon or discussion, one person bought a glass of water. Then he is asking, what will happen to this glass or tumbler if it is fallen down, cracked? So now it is not cracked, but its potential to crack is different from a wooden thing. It's a glass. So this, whether it's dropped or not, its potential to break is there. So if you wish to do it, put down and see, that's where it is broken. So if you can see the potential even before it is breaking, that is what you call the wisdom. This one day it will fallen down, finish. So therefore, even if it's before breaking, you have to have that ability. Everyone is going to die. Everyone is going to old age and diseases. So therefore, why so much of fear? So this is what you see your body also. Sometimes agglomeration as a beehive, and sometimes individual bees gone separate, and there you can't see the shape. The manner is different. But even if you can see the beehive, if you can see it is agglomeration of individual bees, there's no such a thing called, such an entity called hive. It's a collective name. The body is that. If whenever you have that kind of a collective name, your love or your desire is reduced, because you know it is it has already gone into pieces, even though it is not fallen apart. At the death, again it is gone to pieces and fallen apart. While you are living, gone to pieces but not fallen apart. So that is the difference. So therefore, no much of worries about these old age, sickness and death. So whether you worry or not, you are going to have it. If you are worrying, you will go faster. If you have no worries, the same thing happen in a slow manner. So this is a good thing, happening in a very digestible manner, a palatable way. Just facilitate it to happen. One day it will make you for any adventure.
Dear Bhante, at the beginning it was difficult to do walking meditation, but after coming here, I followed the timetable and did walking meditation up at the Udamalua. After 4 days, I can walk without noting effortlessly. Then feel the coarseness of the sand, how the sand pricks the feet, no thoughts. Is this also leading to disappearance of primary object? When going to dana, always mindful, or I try to, few thoughts, eat concentrating on food after your advice. Does this too lead to voidness and mind without defilements? Now mind is very calm and I have more energy. Please advise. May you be blessed with good health and strength to spread the Dhamma throughout the world.
So if we are to talk about the walking meditation, you may see with or without noting how the sole of the left foot and the right foot, and ultimately when you familiarize it, you can see the experience is not limited to the left foot, left sole or right sole. It is moving along your skeleton everywhere whenever you are walking, and still you may see the most prominent thing is the sole touching the soil. When you keep on practicing, you can see the whole body is walking as a one unit, and it is happening effortlessly. So that is the time you are really doing walking meditation. Of course, at that time you are doing nothing. Till that you were doing. You were noting and you try to see the left leg and the right leg kind of thing. But after a while, you feel you are walking, the whole entity is walking, and no any effort, no self necessary, no volition necessary, it is happening. So that is the point you start to release the lack of tension, lack of stress going to happen. So body is walking and you can see as a second person. So everything happened without a volition, without a will, due to the past momentum, and you can understand. So when that happens, almost like in a sitting meditation, you feel that calmness, you feel that frictionless way, effortless way. And once you develop it, even if you are going for a long journey, if you are alone, you can put into that mode. The body will walk, and whenever you are walking like that, you never get tired. You never get exhausted. You can really understand what is the optimum speed, and that will happen. This is the way you understand your body. So therefore you are on the way. Let the body to walk or do walking meditation, we say effortless way. And once that happens, Give as long as possible. Don't worry whether you are nodding or not. Don't worry whether you see the discriminatingly left leg and the right leg. You know totality, I am walking, I am not sitting, I am not standing, I am not sleeping. That's enough.
Dear Swami Vahansa, when doing walking meditation, I feel the roughness of the carpet to my feet, but after some time, I walk without thoughts, unintentionally, without effort, feel calm and happy. Earlier, I hated to do walking meditation. The legs started to ache, but now it is a pleasure to walk. Can I do more hours of walking meditation? Sometimes I feel sleepy while doing sitting meditation, then get up and walk. While going about, for instance, to dana, I go mindfully with very little thoughts. Is this correct? Please guide me. Thero Sadnai.
So only thing is, unless otherwise it is raining, don't select these indoor meditation areas. Go to the sand bed. It's a luxury. A sand bed is a luxury. So whenever the time permits, do it. And the difference between walking on the indoor and the artificial floors and walking in the outdoor, in the sand, completely two different things. So that will open up more, and whenever walking happens, the best thing, even though you become a lover of the walking meditation, do 50-50. If it is 1 hour walking, go and sit 1 hour. And that way, balance the health and the exercises. And easy, when and where you familiarize the walking meditation, to cope up with the multitasking and sitting. Walking meditation, sit in between. Multitasking is too much of activity, sitting is too less activities. Walking meditation is the pacemaker in between. So therefore, soon you get up from the sitting, it happened to go to directly for the multitasking, it is too big the change. You have to have a little bit of walking and then ready. And after too much of multitasking, if you go and sit, that also changes too much. If you can have a little bit of walking, then that is the pacemaking. It's very harmonizing these three stages. So therefore, walking meditation is a kind of a versatile thing. And to emphasize, I would say, not a single religious master prescribed walking meditation except Buddha. Therefore, Buddha telling the advantage of walking meditation is enumerating 5 things. One thing is, if you wish to see the end of your endeavorance, walking meditation is the only one preserving energy to see the end. Otherwise, you will give up halfway. So much of tolerance it is developing. So if you are not walking meditation, your journey will not be finished.
Dear Bhante, about 3 days ago, a small black puppy was left here at the monastery outside the meditation hall. I asked the office to please look after it until someone can take it home. It is still there today outside, shivering and covered in fleas. I find this very distressing. I feel that watching my breath and meditating is pointless if there is no compassion or kindness towards others, especially animals. I don't want to harden my heart, which is what I will have to do if I stay here for the rest of the retreat. Please advise.
You have to just please read slowly. You may repeat it again.
Dear Bhante, about 3 days ago, a small black puppy was left here at the monastery outside the meditation hall. I asked the office to please look after it until someone can take it home. It is still there today outside, shivering and covered in fleas. I find this very distressing. I feel that watching my breath and meditating is pointless if there is no compassion or kindness towards others, especially animals. I don't want to harden my heart, which is what I will have to do if I stay here for the rest of the retreat. Please advise.
Even I don't have an answer for that. And It is natural in Sri Lanka. Whenever there are stray dogs, they parturited, they put into near the temple, and they will go into the temple, and no one is taking care, but the people come and put it inside. So where the answer? Simply, there is a alligator, come and eat everything. And there was a python. There's only one python take care of both the mountains. So whenever you find a puppy or any sick animal, it's swallow. So what to do? And when the rabies time happens or skin diseases happen, these dogs and others are spreading so much. So my simple principle is don't entertain animals here. But there are some people, they do halfway. If it is so, take into a cage or take food, give food and take care. And then no problem. Then I have to talk not with the animal, with that person. But they are just giving food because it is coming off free of charge and become compassionate only for that extent. Not take care. So if someone is willing to take, I'll give all the dogs. I'll be very happy. I heard there's one lady in Mount Lavinia. If there anyone informed, she will take and take care about. So I told one of the people taking care about the dog, then I told, I will give any funds, put the dog into a decent place and take care. Not letting them astray, giving little food and kind of thing. So I am without any answer for this situation because Sri Lanka, you can see the situation regarding the stray dogs. Even the municipal council have no answer. Unless otherwise Colombo, Kandy and other places, they are astray going. So if someone can give an answer besides this retreat, I am welcoming. Any person, even not participating in the retreat. And a few days ago, some of our workers that beaten by monkeys and they hospitalized. And their suspicion is rabies. Anyone coming, the Dana people wish to give through windows. So all the monkeys are right now. And that compassion I don't consider as the healthy one. Give a complete answer if possible, and no problem. But my objective is not the animal care. This center is not for that. If someone is doing, take it the responsibility. I am also happy to contribute for a decent answer, not this type of this. So therefore, not it is that hardening of our mind. We are living in the society. We are specifically centers like this run in a very traditional way, and we are not like a 5-star hotel. We are not the financially oriented people. A lot of people are coming, a lot of people are participating. Very difficult to cope up with this problem regarding the animals. We complain to the Vanaya. Vanaya means that wildlife. To come and do something, because a lot of people are moving here, workers, meditators, coming for dana and visitors, and they are attacking. They are attacking visitors, monkeys, and even the dogs. So what to do? No control. I am responsible. But I have no answer. So please take time. If you have any kind of a decent answer, we can discuss it over the table and do something. But it is an incessant question. Day by day they come and leave here the puppies. I can give in wholesale.
Garu Swamin Vahansa. Walking meditation was automatically done. After I began the sitting meditation, breath disappeared. In no time, I entered into darkness. Then a thought arose and disappeared. In between two thoughts, solitude prevailed. This gap of solitude spread. On the second day, As soon as I sat, breath stopped. At once I blurred into the darkness. No thoughts, no pain, no anything. My body was not there, but I felt I was alive. Solitude spread endlessly, far and far away. There was no limit. But in every sitting, this does not happen. Please comment. Thero with metta.
So one of the last question we went into the going to pieces without falling apart. Whenever it is going to pieces, you find cracks, you find crevices. Ultimately, when you meditate more and more, crevices overcome everything, you never find any substance. That is how the friction reduces. So at the beginning you find the going to pieces without falling apart, but later the cracks are the one it is improving and increasing. Ultimately you can see, even though there are some so-called materiality, the immateriality is the second nature. So when the mind is adjusting it and preparing or acclimatizing to understand this space or take this as a second nature, it is appear like negative or nihilistic or cessation. So the world or your natural mind never happy to really accept it, because it is already dwelling and based upon something positive. Through positive, whenever you are to see the negative or see the antimatter through matter, it is not scientific like. So this is happening slowly, slowly. For example, when and where you to see the gap in between end of the out-breath and the beginning of the in-breath, it is a very tiny one, you see it. More and more you to practice, that gap is increasing. Ultimately you can't see any breath, only you see the gap. And then you see, I see the space. I see no breath. So that is the way you understand what you see in the normal rational mind is a kind of a mirage. When and where you go into the deep meditation, everything what you said yes, available, you will see or see through and say no, not available. The very same person. That is how the change is taking place. Not only that, one day you will say, no, not available situation is the second nature. That is the more you feel at home, that's the place only you find the liberation. So therefore you say yes or available, it is the torturing part. So that change many accepted. Before the Buddha and after the Buddha, not possible within this life. They thought it may be something different life, but the meditator can understand whatever you see, whatever you say, yes, available, hard, concrete, see-through. Ultimately, at the beginning you see little cracks and crevices. Ultimately you can see so much of the emptiness and so-called availability or concrete nature is disappearing. So that very hardly believable. So that is what is happening. So please facilitate, and though it appears like a challenging you and threatening you, it is what you call knowledge. You have to facilitate it.
Dear Venerable Bhante, when in sitting meditation, I started mindful about the posture. Sometimes I feel pain in my left chest, must be my heart. Even with that pain, I feel I can concentrate and I feel my mind going up and up. Please advise with metta.
So I have to present a model to understand this. Maybe the best in our brain, the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere. And the left hemisphere is the one taking care of the rationality, deductive thinking, pleasure principle, suppressing others, tension, frustration, knowledge, everything. The right side is very aesthetic, thinking about the holistic, and it never upmanship and domineering. Sometimes, so when in a day-to-day life, left side is the only part is working. It never allows this holistic part to work, suppressing. And more you learn it, more and more you become fulfilled in the economic and politically, your left side become overwhelmingly suppressing the right side. And there are some models in the world, they say is, if something damage happen in the left leg, left brain, you are utterly become despair, and you cannot live more as a normal person. It go paralytic. Your left brain is damaged, and there is a case. She knows definitely. She was a neuroscientist. Now, in future of her life is completely paralytic. There's the bleeding inside the left leg, left brain, but she can feel the laughing sound of the right brain. She says, if you are a Buddhist, you may claim this as the Nibbana. My whole life ruined. There's a bleeding inside the brain and you lose the memory. Everything gone. But I can feel my right brain is very happy. It is completely laughing and giggling. I can't believe. 3 times she is explaining it. Theoretically, I know I am finished, ruined. But the other side is smiling. So that changes what the Buddha says. Whenever you leave aside your household life and come live in this monastic life is not your fulfillment. It is not up to your complete satisfaction. There is a friction. There is a lack of facilities. And not like you don't feel like at home. And this friction, if you can make a reason to be glad, or renunciated happiness, definitely you are going to successful in the meditation. If you are always worrying about the lack of facilities and not the homely feeling, that means you will never meditate. You are not a meditator. You will never progress. So this friction you find in the monastery, you must try to find a reason to be glad and make a point to be rapturous. Because that keep away my household questions. I am now in the monastery. Even though I have little bit of difficulty, that difficulty is a reason for me to be glad. That is continuing again and again. So each and every point where you depressed and regret, there's a reason to be glad. If you need further reference and further clarification, read Pollyanna. And Pollyanna will teach you. It is your game to find a reason to be glad under any circumstances. This is the best definition for Metta Bhavana. So if you find only the one-sided angle, you never find any reason to be glad under pain. But the Buddha says, if it is not so, you are not a Vipassana yogi. Each and every Vipassana yogi see pain is the forerunner and the precursor for the Nibbana. Because the first and foremost thing is dukkha arya satya. Noble truth of suffering is the first truth. And when it is coming closer, you must be happy. That is why you become not a commoner. That is how you become Aryans. The when and where you see the noble truth, of course you are happy. So make it, if possible, on theoretical basis and rational basis, then only your meditation will be gaining and gathering the momentum.
Dear Bhante, I note my posture. Here I am lying down. I notice my in-breath at the nostrils. I observe the breath brush against the upper lip, enter the nostrils, then feel cool against my throat. I observe my lungs and diaphragm expand, then contract with the same breath. I observe the same out-breath on my upper lip and brush warmly against my arm or foot, whichever is in direct line with the airflow. My breath feels comforting and peaceful, and I am happy. I try to follow the in-breath from the same point where I last observed the out-breath, but I can't. Please advise me on the following. A. How to extend the point from which I first noticed the in-breath. B. I think this is not one-pointedness. Am I correct? Can one-pointedness shift from point to point with mindfulness? C. How do I improve from here? This has happened for 3 to 4 years. Much merit to you for all that you do for us. May you attain your spiritual goal in this life itself. Thero Nissarana.
All the 3 questions is summarized in the first question. When and where are you face to face with one object, so to say the primary object, more and more you familiarize, you are bound to see all the possible facets. At the beginning you see 1 or 2 facets and you recognize it with these facets. But whenever it is changing, you feel like lack of mindfulness or lack of relationship with the object. But you have to patiently observe. More and more you observe, you find all the other facets. When it is happening, when you are about to see all the other facets, you master the object right from the beginning through the middle to the end, and concentration sets in. Otherwise, if you have find out relationship between the mindfulness and the concentration, every kind of with little bit of acquaintance with the primary object, it never happens. So you have to somehow or the other tackle the primary object and familiarize it or maximize it to see all the facets whenever it is expanding with relationship with all the facets. Definitely the concentration and all the other lacking thing will come into being. In giving a commentary to the Visuddhimagga, that teacher is telling, Yatha pakatang vipassana biniveso pacha anupahattantenapi upayena upattapetva sammasitabang. Start with whatever the peculiar part, what is the prominent part, keep the object face to face and continue. When you are going to continue, definitely the unprominent parts, unconspicuous parts, bound to arise. Totality will come. So therefore, take care about the first question and associate primary object not with that idea, it is the same facet is coming, with the openness or anicca sanya, any facet can happen, then definitely the mindfulness will lead you to see all the facets. When it is happening, the balance between samatha vipassana, wisdom and the concentration, everything will take place.
Dear Swami Vahansa, when we are at home, anger and hatred come several times during everyday life. Even without us doing anything wrong, family members scold us. When silent, it's worse. Pass hints saying after going for meditation we have changed. Anyway, I get hatred feelings towards them. When we sit for meditation, these ill will feelings come and disturb meditation. After some time, back at the primary object. Please advise. Thero Nissarana.
So only hatred can create it, given by our dear and near ones. Unknown people never create any hatred. So therefore, dear and near one is your selection. You are the one selecting. So you can see, our mind is always selecting the hatred. So therefore it is your own baby. Don't put it. And therefore ask householders, shall you put up some notice in the house, wherever, whenever you have anger, count up to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So whenever someone is losing anger, become angry, you can just point it to the board. So likewise, if other people also accept their anger is coming often, they have an agreement like that. Or otherwise, the Buddha is very clearly indicates our desire and the anger only appearing because of our dear and near ones. So you are utterly responsible for that. And you are the one get attached to them. And whenever you are to be away with that, you are the one unhappy. So therefore we are all sadists, masochists, creating suffering, asking troubles, asking for fear, the hatred. So whenever you understand it, it's become the biggest joke in the world, biggest joke in the life. Because we are the very people creating and asking and giving the conducive conditions for this hate to happen. So therefore, associate as much as people as yet another person, no dear and near one. That is very difficult because people consider this as callousness. People consider this as a lack of feelings. But the feelingful people are the real cursor or precursors for this hatred. Have a clear terms with the others if possible. And I know it is difficult because I had about 8 to 9 years living as a lay person. Still I know definitely one day I am going to take off. And relationship. So they are asking me why you are not marrying, why you are not doing this and that. Then I said, no, not in a hurry, I would do later. So I was just postponing, and in association, I understood that is the language they understand. Just keep the relationship physically, but no any emotional, no any kind of thing, just physical availability is there. It appears like unhuman, possible. It is possible. Still, you may find with after living so, renunciation is still easier, happy, possible. So this is without thinking renunciation, that is fighting happens. So apply that also as an alternative. There is no renounced people born in the world. Each and everyone is born household and renounced. So why can't you also can take that step? Giving the message to your family members as a setting an example to the Dhamma and giving more and more solitude, that radical answer is that. Or otherwise, pemato jayati soko, tannhaya jayati soko. It's a very famous way the Buddha has presented. So put some captions on your in the door frame inside. So when your problem happens, you can show it to other people.
Dear Venerable Bhante, after a few minutes of walking meditation, I sat down for sitting meditation and started mindfulness about the body posture. No sooner I feel that my whole body vibrates and there is nothing I can feel about the body, line, or body. Please advise.
So is it helpful for meditation, or is it a threat, or is it a distraction? I would like to know. Then only I can contribute or I can participate in this. Otherwise, if that open, I have to assume. It is always I am wrong. That particular person can give us some more information. When that vibration happens, do you feel fearful, or do you feel advancing, or what kind of a mind you had? So if not you are presenting, next time when you are asking, just add that also as a last sentence. What is your impression for this experience?
Thero Saranai. Venerable Bhante, what I heard in your sermon, sir, is not to hinder the feelings. They should be disclosed. In my case, most of the time, I never show my anger to the other one. But I know I am annoyed or dislike or angry. I feel that I should not blast it out. Therefore, I would like to get clarification on disclosing of feelings with metta.
You have to read the early part, please. There was a few words.
Yes. What I heard in your sermon, sir, is not to hinder the feelings. They should be disclosed. In my case, most of the time, I never show my anger to the other one.
So therefore, it is a kind of a cultural or restrainment not to expose it. But when the anger happens, if it is not exposing, it may be pent up energy is settling down inside also, within yourself, if it is not putting out. So after a while, after accumulation, either you become sick or you have to have a very big anger with that particular agent. So that is the way usually you are becoming so angry with other people and killing and committing suicide and all the kind of thing. Instead the other thing is, then and there you express your anger, so piecemeal basis it is disappearing. Both techniques are valid. So the early part in your spiritual life, the Buddha is prescribing the second method, restrainment. That is what you call sila. Don't kill, don't steal, don't have harsh words, don't have that kind of thing. That means restrain yourself, and it is kind of artificial thing. But when you come into the vipassana level, they are naturally become weaker. They are not in a very transgressional form or obsessional form. When it comes to the latent tendencies, like very thin down, there you can directly deal with them and let them come out. Not at the very gross level. So therefore, Vipassana Yogi is the only person, do not practice escapism. Face it face to face with as it is, but at that time your emotions are not very gross, not very aggressive, and that is the end. That's the end of the chapter. So therefore, when and where time permits, you may deal it with when and where anger happens, not expressing others, but you are facing, you are not hiding, you are not restraining it. Let the anger happens, and you can see anger means full of energy. It is like the nuclear energy. Anger is full of energy, and you can use it. If you feel little sleepy, introduce little bit of anger, the sleep will utterly disappear. When you are in anger, think about the sleepiness. You can't think even. So therefore you must have little bit of anger whenever you use this as like condiments for your curries. You must have little bit of this and that, then only you get the real padama in Sinhala or harmony. So we need it. And at that time, whether it is you use it or hide it, it has come to a certain restrainment. But in Vipassana, you are really working with it. And in Satipatthana, last Satipatthana, Dhammanupassana, the Buddha is directly saying, Santang va ajjatam vyapadam santime ajjatam vyapadoti pajanati. Whenever you feel irritated and full of hatred, you understand now in my stream of consciousness, the hatred is there. You are not suppressing, and you see the rising of hatred, cessation of the hatred. So that means you are fully in the armed situation with the other mindfulness and faith and precepts, so you can tackle. At the beginning you are not doing so, you restrain them. So therefore at the beginning, at the sila restrainment or morality restrainment, you are restrained. But in the vipassana, you let come out as it is. So you have to understand when and where to use these two techniques. Even though they are contradictory to each other, a single person has to use it.
Most Venerable Bhante, thank you for the advice yesterday. I think I had a few instances of experiencing the voidness today. Once my breath became subtler and subtler, and no more inner chatting, there came a few instances that I felt as if I'm going through a tunnel, but no noise, no breath, and felt like my ears were blocked. But it was not dark like in a tunnel. Is this the dwelling in the void you explained in the Dhamma sermon? I experience it for some time, and time to time, about 4 times. The sitting was from 9 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. I find that the best time for me is from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Can an individual select a best time like this? I would like to know whether this is a correct statement so that I can plan my day accordingly when I go home. Thank you and much merit to you for all the guidance. May all your desires be fulfilled in this life itself.
I also will agree that when I get the complete day free, best of my sittings, specifically best of my concentration happen between 2 meals, morning, after the breakfast and before the lunch. So when I was in Panditarama, I used to take this opportunity, but in Nissarana I never get it because morning time we have allocated different work. So because the day is fresh and full, my stomach is full of food and energy, and no much of repercussions because you are soon after the sleep, and this is happening. So whenever you are planning, your best thing you must do in the morning hours. Morning hours are full of energy, freshness. So sittings, it is natural. But maybe there are some other people with some other likings and disliking also. And indicate that a few occasions can feel this nothingness happen in the 3-4 occasions. And imagine if this nothingness is the reality, that is the nature, how much you familiarize this nothingness. Simply we can say practiced up to the point where the nothingness become your second nature. That means each and every moment, with all the desire and the hatred and sleepiness and fighting, you must understand nothingness never leave you, even though you never expect it. That is the way you can make the nothingness as your best friend, not only between the end of the out-breath and the beginning of the new in-breath. Even in-breath and out-breath, you can see it, because it is a natural thing, just like the space. So when and where you see, it is called, in Pali, it is called ajata avakasa. Avakasa or ajata avakasa. Ajata avakasa means you can get knots. No problems can happen whenever the nothingness happen. All the problems are in the having. When there is not having, no problems. So therefore, develop and maximize it, or familiarize it, or season it, till it becomes your second nature.
Most Venerable Bhante, sitting meditation. Falling into sleep after 15 to 20 minutes of starting and start bending down the head at many intervals was my first question to you a few days ago. I am undergoing the same problem again and again, only after 30 minutes. When I reached almost floor level, I awake. However much I tried, unable to bring the mind to calm state to do the meditation. Also, I feel very lazy. I am mindful to do my meditation at the beginning. Please advise me with metta.
So if it is relating to the collapsing of the body, I appreciate that with the instruction that I have given, if you have taken time to see, whenever your mind is face to face with the primary object, more and more association with the primary object, the collapsing happens. So first what you have to do is make sure when that is happening, your mind is with the primary object or not. If it is not, you may get interfere with the posture. If it is with primary object, let the posture to be whatever it may be, develop the relationship with the primary object. But here it is not clearly indicated, but the brave nature is there. Even it is collapsing, even going to the ground level, you practice, you keep on doing. Please check whether this, when it is happening, when this collapsing or bending happen, your relationship with the primary object is yes or no, Accordingly, you have to practice. If it is no, you can involve with your body. But what I guess is, it is happening usually when and where the object and the mind become face to face, aligned, then only collapsing happens. So forget about the body, just develop the relationship. Later we can tackle the body collapsing after, once you confirm that your mind is face to face with the primary object. Can that particular person give answer here, or not happy? Or if it is so, please continue with that. And when you are writing, please give that information also if you are ever to write again. How many more questions?
2.
Okay.
Dear Bhante, according to your Dhamma talk, one must learn to listen when somebody talks and then give your answer or opinion. How can we develop this state of mindfulness when somebody makes you angry by action? How to avoid getting involved by words or actions? By cultivating mindfulness and yoniso manasikara, can this anger be curtailed? Please advise with metta. P.S. If one is accused without doing anything wrong, how to react with metta?
So this is simply how to make the anger as your primary object. Can we take anger as your primary object? Simply yes. So when someone is doing whatever, maybe you are the person getting angry, see the symptoms and early signs of anger. Whenever available, just note it as anger, anger, anger. And if it is frequently happening, it is natural to call this as your primary object. And the second thing is, if someone is accusing you without any your due involvement, you must be happy. That's the way your past karmic the balance is being dealt with. So Upanishad Sayadaw used to say, when someone is accusing and if you are not involved in, you are not due, you must try your best to not to create new karma now, not to create new involvement, not to create any volitional activities. Let that happen without any friction. That is the yogi. So instead, if you are going to argue and says, how can you accuse me? I am not the person doing it. You are wrong and kind of thing. You are accumulating, starting another cycle. So yogi is a person, let the other people get involved with karmic work. But you must try to not to start something, not to initiate something, then you are winning the game. Otherwise, perpetuation of the mistake. So therefore, I would say, if you are a person always get angry, you are a wise person. Anger and the wisdom is very close friends. So you have to just turn, you have to get that energy of anger and turn into the wisdom, quick enlightenment, very electric kind of people. And don't get angry with me for telling like that.
Venerable Bhante, while practicing sitting meditation, watching the start, middle, and the end of the in-breath made me calm and peaceful after some time. Going on looking for the gap at the end of the in-breath made me turn to the gaps in the sounds. Birds chirping, forced insects, rahaya sounds, sounds of trishaws and tractors. In all these the gap was noticed. I felt calm and happy watching the gaps in the sounds. Is it the Nirodha? Please explain with metta.
Is it the?
Nirodha?
Nirodha. So that, but whenever you see the gap and you feel appeased, you feel calm and quiet, you can say it is Nirodha. Whenever you see the gap, you get excited and fearful and doubtful. That cannot be recognized as Nirodha. So the same appearance, same observation can lead to two things, depending on your temperaments. So if you can see the gaps and you feel again and again to see it in different ways and consider and feel contented, That is you are doing Nirodhanupassana, see the cessation. More and more you cessation, more and more you are at peace. But if you get angry, if you get agitated or irritated, that cannot be known as Nirodha. So therefore you have to say, whenever you see this kind of a cessation of the in-breath or any other sounds or bird chirping, do you feel contented? Do you feel peaceful? Then it's a good sign to correctly say that is Nirodha, Nirodhanupassana. Okay, we have taken 20 minutes extra, so sorry if there are any other questions. I am not going to invite in this session, and we are going to take these 40 minutes for the walking meditation. We will be meeting at about 3 o'clock. Thank you very much for the participation.